Good day, fellow rockers and moshers. Welcome to the Metal Connection, the connection to all things metal. We're doing a show here. We got a gang full of guests here, and we're doing our perfect 10s. So I got each guest to choose 3 albums we think are perfect 10s. They may not actually be perfect 10s, but in our eyes or our ears, actually, they are perfect 10s, and we're going to find out why and which ones. So I'm going to put Clint on the hot seat, and you're up first.
All right, my first pick I would like to show off is Motionless in White Creatures.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
You know, this album it's like, flawless metalcore to me has a little bit, that gothic spooky vibe, really Halloween themed. All the, on this album especially, they still had that kind of gothic aesthetic. They, all the lyrics are tie in with like horror movies and stuff like that. Like, We Only Come Out at Night, London and Fair, Abigail, Creatures, Cobwebs, City Lights, Puppets, The Fair Show, Undead Ahead, Scissorhands, The Last Show, just an incredible album from start to finish. Hell yeah. It's an incredible album, and this is before they, went for more industrial kind of sound. This album's just full of breakdowns and real heavy. So if you haven't listened to it, I recommend it. It's a perfect 10 to me. They put on an awesome show. Highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'd probably have to fine comb it if I was gonna call it a 10 me personally, but yeah, I own it, so it's obviously good, and I'd have to really fine comb it to think it's a 10. But yeah, it's definitely a banger, and yeah, Immaculate Misconception, good stuff. Creatures, Abigail. It's funny. There's a song on here called Count Choculatus. Count Choculatus. You can kind of see it there.
Yeah.
Count Choculatus. Decent pick. I talked to Clint kind of lots, like in kind of like on Facebook Messenger in private. So I know he loves Motionless in White. So I'm not surprised by the pick.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of keep on in order here, and we'll go around to the Queen of England. I don't know if you want to introduce
How's
yourself.
it going? Resurrected, the Queen of England, aka Keith. Just have a moment of silence for our queen here. Nah, fuck it. Let's keep the rock going. I went with the Cramps. Bad music for bad people.
Nice.
So like psychobilly, like punk rock. Yeah. So this one's kind of like a compilation, right? Takes a lot of like 7 inches and stuff. And, yeah, we got like Yugi Muck and yet again, right? All the references to like horror movies and just like badass old country music, and they were just starting a scene, right? And they're starting their own scene, so badass. And Poison Ivy and Lux Interior, crazy freaking couple, right? Would have loved to have seen them live. Would have been good.
I know it's not something I'm super familiar with. I'm obviously heard of the Cramps and things like that. I've heard some songs and previewed some of their stuff. So it's not something I've gotten into yet. Always got some killer artwork though.
Yeah, check it out.
Nice.
Check it out.
Obviously,
There you go. There you go, Dave. Yeah.
It's sealed. I haven't even opened it yet.
Nice.
Yeah, I was wanting to get that CD eventually one of these days.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to them, give them a whirl, right? It's like kind of psychedelic and psychobilly.
I came across that one that he just showed there with the girl sitting on the
job,
chair.
yeah.
I came across that one.
They're a very interesting band. I've been listening to a little bit of them, and they have very interesting artwork.
That's a good one. A Date with Elvis.
Yeah,
good times.
I have some of these on LP, but they're in the other room.
Yeah, I got quite a few. That's cool, man.
But I could see myself maybe like getting into them at some point when I catch up with other bands. You know how it is. There's a million one bands out there, but I can see myself getting into them because I like rockabilly and that sort of stuff. So I can see myself kind of getting into it. So
Yeah, give it a chance.
so that's funny. As soon as when I know David gets up, I know he's going to find whatever we're talking about. So, we'll keep that going. So Metal Detective, you're up next. Or you're up.
Yeah, so a perfect 10 for me. I know we did the other show, and I was trying to remember what I did for those. I didn't get to watch the old show, but I have a feeling that I had Celtic Frost, Cold Lake in there. But I wanted to change it up and go with, I think this is another perfect 10. Celtic Frost.
To Megatherion.
To Megatherion. It's a perfect 10 for me because, man, the guitar sound, the riffs, the vox, the choruses, the hooks, it's just black metal heaven. I think this might be the first, this might have been the first Celtic Frost CD that I ever got. And this is actually
nice.
From maybe the early 90s. This is a reissue from, I don't know, the not early 90s.
And you can't forget the artwork. The artwork's incredible by Geiger on that.
Yeah, H.R. Geiger.
Yeah.
Oh, was that Geiger artwork, really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just thought that the slingshot with the looks like the devil like trying to slingshot Jesus. I thought it was so blasphemic.
So evil, right?
Yeah, it's just evil.
Geiger's
and
good.
They're on the back and they're looking really evil. Though the drummer Reed he's a little bit glammed up there, but you can see Tom in the middle. He's like king of black metal, man. These guys are the original. I mean,
yep.
As far as the original, whoever did the first black metal album. I mean, there's arguments for Bathory. They weren't really
Venom might have even coined the term black metal pretty much because of the album Black Metal.
Yeah, a lot of people say Venom, but I think Venom were just pretty just like really heavy and noisy because they didn't really play very well. They were less technical, but yeah, a lot of people say Venom were the first black metal band. I think they were just kind of a Motorhead, offshoot a little bit. But I do love Venom. I don't really consider them black metal band per se. I really think Hellhammer, actually, the precursor to Celtic Frost, was the first black metal band, even though I don't think they really put out an album. But I have that Apocalyptic Raids, 1990 AD. That was
the Hellhammer, yeah.
Yeah, Hellhammer, I mean, just awesome. Just anything Celtic Frost, Hellhammer, even Triptychon, Apollyon Sun, anything in that kind of vein I love. So, yeah.
Well,
and I do love Cold Lake. Most people who know me, who know the Metal Detective, they know that I do love Cold Lake, and it's a very divisive thing. But, I don't care.
You ain't the only one out of all those reviewers who actually likes Cold Lake. Shout out to Jam and John over at Thralls of Metal.
Yeah, I am. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know Tom hates it. I'm sorry, Tom. I love the album. I have like all the stuff, but it is what it is. But Celtic Frost, one of the best bands ever on the planet.
That's cool. Speaking of Geiger artwork, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this one. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, brain salad surgery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have
That's
that one.
also Geiger artwork.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, cool. With the vinyl, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's actually a really cool vinyl. I might have to hunt one down.
It's really funny as I almost chose a Danzig album for tonight's show, which he also used the Geiger artwork. So that really would have made this H.R. Geiger connection here tonight. But I didn't choose a Danzig. I ended up swapping it out for something else. You guys will find out here in a bit. But so Ryan, you be up next.
All right, I'm going to have to turn on my camera and point. I'll have to try and figure out how I can set this up. But yeah, this is one that I think is perfect. Blackwater Park. It took me a while to love this. The first time I listened to this all the way through, I think this was around 2015. I liked a few songs on here. I liked Leper Affinity, I loved Harvest, but as I kept listening to it all more and more and more, I start thinking to myself, man, this album is the reason why Brody had it when he did his, like, I think, reggae. I was so intrigued by this. I was like, oh, why don't I listen to this? It took me a few listens to finally realize that Blackwater Park is just, it's perfect. Everything from Leper Affinity, Bleak, Harvest, Drapery Falls, Dirge, from November, Funeral Porch, and fucking love that. Fucking love the title track of Blackwater Park. It's probably one of my favorite. If I can probably top 5 favorite Opeth albums, and just even the artwork from Travis is freaking. I love the artwork and just everything about it. To me, it's absolutely perfect. To me, like easily, and one of at least 2 that I picked from 2001. You might know the other one later, but. Yeah, I think I between the other one, I picked this one as my favorite of 2001 easily, and I think it's perfect. Both are perfect, but I like this one a little bit more than the other one. But yeah, that's the first perfect album I think is perfect. Blackwater Park by Opeth.
I haven't listened to that in 20 years. I should probably dig it out and listen to it.
If I had to guess, I would. If I had to guess, I would figure you would love Opeth. Yeah.
They're like proggy, got some 70s influence.
Yeah, that later stuff. Yeah, but this is proggy death. This is the definitive era of Opeth. That, and I would even say My Arms Are Hers, Still Alive, even to some extent Ghost Reveries and Watershed, which I do need to listen to Watershed at some point. And even the 2 concept albums before Blackwater Park, but yeah, this was the definitive era of Opeth. Nothing about no offense, but nothing to do with the prog rock, prog metal later era of Opeth I do not care for. To me, that's not Opeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that later Opeth stuff. I'm not actually a big fan of the earlier Opeth, which is weird. I'm actually a fan of the later stuff. Yeah, I like that. I like when he started experimenting with that kind of folky, proggy stuff later on. But yeah. Me and Ryan have gone back and forth on that for a long time. On that back and forth.
Yeah.
Jamie does need to listen to the older Opeth. You need to get over your egotistic and listen to it.
Orchid and Morning Rise might change your mind, maybe.
No, it's good for sure. I'm just not a big fan of the super long 9-8 minute atmospheric kind of up and down.
What you need to do, Jamie, what you need to do is whenever you're cleaning house, just put it on and forget about it.
Yeah, I'll think about it. Maybe one. Okay, so first for me is this is kind of the first one I picked for tonight. I kind of just stuck up to my CD shizazzle I got going on behind here, and this is kind of the first one I stumbled across, and I said, good enough for me. But no, it's actually not just good enough. It is a freaking 10 out of 10. We're talking about most likely probably the best Devil Driver, The Last Kind Words, and top to bottom, there's not a skipper on this. This is intense all the way through. The playing is phenomenal. There's riffs for days. The drumming is off the charts. It is like Lamb of God type, like precision drumming. And Dez is barking out vocals. He sounds incredible. The whole band is firing on all cylinders. And to top all that off, Jason Sikoff and Andy Sneap worked on it as well, who also have some big names in the metal production world. Jason Sikoff and Andy Sneap. So
yeah,
everything that is going on in this album is working and going on for them. Amazing. I don't know if anyone else got anything to say, or if I just keep going on. Or
I've never heard their music in my life.
I have never cared for Devil Driver.
That is unfortunate.
I mean, personally, it's not my favorite Devil Driver.
Wow.
But it's really good, Jamie. I would have to put a Fury of Our Maker's Hand above that.
The one before.
I mean, a Fury of Our Maker's Hand is personally my favorite, and I did almost pick that.
Oh well, yeah, I have this one slightly over that one, the one before it. But yeah, me man, like when I listened to this before earlier, and it's crazy how just everything is just firing all cylinders. The lineup, the guitarist, the drummer, Dez is firing away. The production, just everything is off the charts. Just a 10. And the reason I kind of knew that. Like I knew from the first listen that this was like the 10, but what kind of even solidified me is like all my friends, they all started picking up on this album too, and they all loved it. It was done. But yeah, amazing. What year was this again? 2007. So what, 15 years ago? Doesn't feel like 15 years ago, really, but it still holds up, sounds fresh and modern, but obviously Andy Sneap and all that. But yeah, cool stuff. I thought more people would be familiar with it, maybe not. So we'll move along to Clint.
I mean, that was the year I saw Devil Driver, and that was the last time I got to see him. It's been a while. All right, my next album is As Blood Runs Black. And yeah, if you haven't listened to this, it's fast, aggressive, just amazing album. I really have been on the hunt for this album for a long time. I am glad I finally got it about a month ago. I've been on the hunt for this album since it came out. And I just didn't want to pay an arm and a leg for it, because this album's worth like $50 to like $80, depending on the press you have of it. And this is the first press, and it's a first press, so this one could be worth about $90.
Where'd you get it from?
I was talking to a guy on eBay. He had a bundle of CDs. He was like, 50 or best offer, and I offered him 30, and he took it. And it came with this and several other stuff that I got. So I was like, a bargain. But yeah,
Fuck
this,
yeah.
In Dying Days is a song I would recommend. Go check it out. My fears have become phobias. Virgin Rain is an amazing song. The Brighter Side of Suffering is amazing. The Beautiful Mistake. Just this whole album is, like if you're a fan of metalcore, deathcore, black, a little bit of like early Black Dahlia kind of sound, the like My Asthma kind of sound, that kind of guitar riffing and stuff like that. Just a crushing album. I would say it's an 11 out of 10. Amazing. There's no skippers, just.
Oh, did you freeze up there for a second there? Oh, yeah, it looks like he froze up there for a second.
Yeah.
It's funny because, well, I was going to say maybe he'll unfreeze while I'm talking, but it's funny when they first came out. Oh, here we go. It's funny because I always used to get them confused with Howard's old band as Blood Has Been Shed.
Yeah.
Right? I always used to get them, mixed up with their Blood Has Been Shed.
Yeah.
But yeah, not something I'm super familiar with. I kind of know it's in that metalcore, kind of deathcore, super, super heavy stuff. Like, yeah.
Definitely recommend. If you've never listened to it, go check it out. As Blood Runs Black.
Well, there we go. Well, hey, that's cool stuff. That's why we kind of all have different tastes, and that's why we're not just like picking Metallica, Master of Puppets. Like, okay, we all know about that, so we're all picking stuff. So, Queen of England.
The name of the album is Allegiance.
Allegiance, yeah. I think I even have that on my computer from back in the day when I used to, just be neck deep and just download all that stuff.
Alrighty, my next one, kind of in the same vein, but how I love it. We got Dead Kennedys. Give me convenience or give me death.
That's a good one.
On Alternative Tentacles, Jello Bianca's label. I don't know if you guys can see that. But yeah, yet again, it's kind of like Bad Music for Bad People. It's, collects a lot of their B-sides and 7-inches that were only released on 7-inch before. And yeah, it's badass. What do we got? Police Truck, Too Drunk to Fuck. Like, what do we got? California Uber Allies. So many good ones. I Fought the Law. And yeah, does it have Nazi Punks Fuck Off on here? I don't know if it does. I don't think it does. But yeah, I haven't pulled it out in a while. If you're in for a fucking thrashy, fast, good time, you throw a little bit of this on, get your hardcore on.
Yeah, such a weird vocal style too. He always has that weird kind of flaily kind of it's so out there. Like you got to be in the mood for it. Like I got one Dead Kennedys album, and I might bust that out once a year. I might get in the mood for it.
Yeah, you got to be in the. He's a smart fellow though too, right? Real political band, and it's cool to see interviews with him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very conscious and political, and well, not political, but conscious and.
Yeah. He's on a different wavelength than most people, which is I find interesting. So, yet again, another band. Would have loved to see him live, but whatever. Got the music, right?
It's funny because they are touring. They do tour around with one original member, maybe.
I think so, and I'm sure they've done some reunion shows here and there over the years.
But you would not want to see Dead Kennedys without what's the front man's name there? It's slipping my mind.
Jello Biafra.
Yeah, Jello Biafra.
Jello Biafra. Yeah, man. Yeah, no, grew up on that shit and still dig it.
And that Too Drunk to Fuck, I'm pretty sure every metal band back in the day probably covered that band. Every thrash band would have covered that band.
Yeah, they're not too technical, but just get their point across, and they are what they are. Love them or hate them, they don't give a fuck, right?
Yeah, cool pick. Oh, I was gonna wonder about that about the vinyl. Is that an OG or is that something they're reissuing nowadays? Or?
This is actually an OG, yeah.
Oh wow! Okay, cool. Yeah,
1987.
I gotta imagine people are still after Dead Kennedys OG vinyl, so that's probably still good. That's probably gonna be valuable.
Yeah, I haven't checked the Discogs in a while, but I don't know. Since he owns his own label, I'm sure there's lots of represses out there and stuff. But I got this from a collection of a guy that was totally into punk and indie from the 80s and the 90s, right? So yeah, I know it's an OG. It's cool. What's the other side look like? Got the bat on that side, and then you got the track listing over there. So, heck yeah.
Awesome, cool pick. He's going punk tonight, and
a little punk night.
Yeah. The Metal Detective's up next.
All right. Second perfect 10 for me is going to be a band that I've loved for nearly 30 years. Thin Lizzy. I know Jamie has been struggling to get into them, but I think this is the best Thin Lizzy album, Bad Reputation, from '77. And I love Phil Lynot's his sense of melody and his vocals, and he's a great bass player. But most of all, he's just a terrific songwriter and a storyteller, and his lyrics are just phenomenal. You've probably heard, Boys Are Back in Town, but that's not actually their best song. It's not on this album. That's from Jailbreak. But this is their best album.
Soldier of Fortune,
yeah. Soldier of Fortune, Opium Trail, Bad Reputation, Killer Without a Cause. I mean, just super melodic stuff. The twin harmony guitar going on. And
it sounds really good.
Just beautiful, beautiful guitar playing. And I've always loved Thin Lizzy. I've really loved Phil Lynott, even the solo stuff. It gets a little bit dance-ish at some points because it was the early 80s when he released a couple solo albums. A lot of kind kind of keyboardy stuff. So it's very different than Thin Lizzy. But love Thin Lizzy and Phil Lynott. And always miss that guy.
Check
He
this
died
out.
in '86. Yeah. That's awesome.
I just picked this up. It's still in shrink, man. Check that out. What does it say? Disco price? You see that?
Wow. Where'd you
What
get
does it
that?
say?
Anyways, yeah. Still in
Disco
shrink. It was
price?
$10.
Oh my God.
I got it for $10, dude. Yeah, it was a good deal.
That's a steal.
Yeah, man. I just listened to it once, but it's a really warm sounding vinyl, right? Like the songs are there for sure. Because like I don't know, I got a couple of their records. What else do I have? Renegade and Jailbreak. But this one, I don't know. The songs are just really well put together, and I got to give another spin.
Yeah, it just every time I hear the album, it is a very warm sound, and it's a lot of his lyrics are kind of melancholy. They're not the happiest lyrics, but there's always a sense of hope, which is what I really like about his songs. So,
Yeah, he had it pretty rough. He was a heroin junkie, right?
Yeah.
Was he drunk or something? Or?
I mean, I think he had his problems with substances. A lot of those guys did in the '70s and '80s, but he overdid it, and I guess in '86 his organs kind of just failed on him.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Damn.
Yeah, he didn't survive it. A lot of these guys, they didn't survive the '80s or '70s. Some didn't survive the '70s, but awesome, totally awesome band. I highly recommend anything by Thin Lizzy. Actually, I don't think they've written a bad song. People would argue with me about that, and they have, but I honestly think it's one of those bands they haven't written a bad song. Some songs are better than others.
Yeah, it'd be a good concert to see. That would have been sweet.
Yeah, I have some live DVDs and the concerts from the '70s and '80s, and they were just phenomenal. They were one of those bands that they didn't need like the pyro, and they didn't need.
No, they were glam without being glam, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
It was like like Hendrix. You just needed to see Hendrix play. You didn't need all the pyro and all the pageantry and all the the boards behind them lighting up or all the screens. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Guess it's my turn. Turn on the camera once again. Are you going to say something, Jamie?
No, I say go ahead.
It's not open again. But it's this one this time. Lateralis. Lateralis from Tool, the vinyl version. This came out, I think, 4 or so years after the CD version. So
cool.
I've talked about this in my retrospective on this band. Basically, to sum up, it's perfect. The interludes, they tried doing that on, say, Automa and didn't work as well. Here on there, they improved on the interlude songs, the shorter songs. They go into songs like freaking. If I can pull out the vinyl here real quick, if I can pull this thing out. Like you go to Eon Blue Apocalypse, going into the pace works perfectly. Banter going into Schism, Parabole and Parabola are pretty much the same when you think about it and stuff like that. And then you get that big, the big trilogy of songs, I believe it's called, the Disposition, Reflection, and then Triad, I believe it's called. But Jesus, encompasses about 20 or so odd minutes, and it's just like everything about this album is just, to me, it's perfect. It's literally the best Tool album they've ever done. There's some albums that I like. I like 10,000 Days. I like their new one, Fear Inoculum. I thought those are pretty close, but none of those come close to the perfection of Lateralis.
Yeah, Ryan.
What?
Oh, man, you talking about Lateralis, man. Oh, that was a crazy trip. That's for another topic for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It-
try
it-
being the key listening to that album. Woo!
Yeah, no. I even listening to it while sober, it's a goddamn trip of an album. I love it. Easily the best Tool album like ever.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest Tool fan, but Lateralis is good. I like Lateralis. There's some good songs on it, and I would even buy it at some point in my life. I don't see why not.
Get it
Yeah.
on CD first, and then get it on vinyl if
No,
it's
I know,
still
it's
available. Because it's hard to it's hard to find Lateralis on vinyl sometimes. Let alone 10,000 Days, which wasn't an officially released on vinyl. It was bootlegged.
Shit, eh? I got Opiate with the secret track on the vinyl.
Yeah.
One?
Oh yeah, I got Opiate on vinyl as well. I even got the demo on vinyl.
Sweet. I like Tool. I want to get their newest one on vinyl. It was like for $67 on Amazon the other day.
Oh yeah, Fear Inoculum. I need it. There's only maybe a handful I need to get. Fear Inoculum and then Anima. I don't have Anima on vinyl. I need to.
You don't have Fear Inoculum? Wow.
I know. I gotta buy that fucker on vinyl.
Oh, like Ryan. I thought Ryan would have Fear Inoculum.
I have Fear Inoculum. I have it in like the book version, pretty much.
Yeah, I had the book version too. I had the book. That's what I have.
You know what?
Same here.
I haven't revisited that album since it came out, and there was a big there was all this hoopla and all over that album, right? But
I was supposed to see him when freaking COVID hit.
All I'm
There's too
saying
much controversy
is,
around that. Yeah, go
all
ahead.
I'm saying to become a bigger Tool fan, hallucinogens definitely do help the process of Tool.
What?
Yeah. I did one day that I took acid and laid in bed and listened to all the Tool albums.
Damn.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And is there a joke between the lines that the Tool albums actually lasted longer, or
Do what, Jamie?
No.
did the Tool albums lasted longer? Obviously, you can't outlast those.
Yeah.
Melvin's those two stuff. So we'd be back at me. So I actually swapped. I was going to pick Danzig. I swapped Danzig out for this just because from the 2009, but from the minute this album was released and the minute I heard it was the same minute I loved this album and I deemed it 10 out of 10 and I still deem it 10 out of 10. I love it. I don't even care what anyone says.
Come on.
Chicken foot out. Oh, don't you? Oh, come on me. All right, so the first Chicken Foot album. And don't you come on me. Okay, we got Joe Satriani, Joe Satchmo, guitar virtuoso wizard, Joe Satchmo. Okay. And then we got Sammy Hagar. Do I need to intro Sammy Hagar? I love his voice. He sounds great. He sounds great.
Oh, yeah.
Sammy Hagar sounds great on this Chicken Foot. Don't say he doesn't. He sounds great. And then, to top it all off, Michael Anthony, one of the best backup vocalists of all time on bass. So that combination, that mixture going on there, I love it. I love everything that's going on there. They're jamming. Everything's organic. Nothing feels forced. It doesn't seem like a money grab. It seems like they're all just like jamming out, having a good time, creating some new music, having fun. Michael Anthony's doing the Van Halen hoo-ha's and shouting in the background. I love it. It's fun. There's a good vibe, energy on this album. I love it. And
Was it 10 out of 10 for
David's
you?
like hiding and like repelling.
Wait. J-Dub, are you serious?
Yeah. No, I love this album. James is in the
Wow.
agreeing. Look at this. Great album. Yeah. I agree.
I've heard of them, never heard them though. I should check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
I've heard it. To me, good, really good, but I wouldn't say perfect.
I love it. I can sing every word, every chorus, every note. I know every little little thing that Joe Satriani's about to do. His little all these little things. I know every little thing about the album. So
I thought you were gonna pick Sato Sensitive or Dirty Fantasy or something.
I actually do really love Fatal Sensitive, and a lot of people hate that album, but yeah, I don't know. I think more people should really give this Chicken Foot a shot. And like if you're looking for like something that's so similar to Van Halen, it's right here. It's right here. So there's my pitch on Chicken Foot for anyone watching in the future. And
Amazing.
we'll move it along to Clint.
All right, I don't own this album yet, but an album I'd say that's a 10 out of 10 is 6 Feet Under's Nightmares of the Decomposed. I'm
You joking? Okay, you joking? Okay, you joking? Okay. But are you actually serious about a 6 Feet Under album being perfect, or was that a joke? Was that a joke as well?
I thought it was excellent.
It's funny.
Where's Sid Barnes when you need him? Oh wait, he ain't even here.
All right.
Okay,
no,
be serious.
On a serious note, no, my album that I think is a 10 out of 10 is Heaven Shall Burn Vento. This album has everything that they've ever done, like the best of the best they've done, I think. It's a really good melodic death metal album. And they did a Blind Guardian Valhalla cover on it, which is incredible.
Oh, cool.
Lands of the Improper Light ones is really good. Die Stardom, Refrenchment, Fallen, Hunters Will Be Hunted, You Will Become Godless. Of course, Valhalla, Like Gods Among Mortals. Just this album lyrically, musically, vocally, just is incredible from beginning to end. And look at that beautiful artwork, the horse and the girl, and just incredible album. I can't say enough about it. I'm got several of their albums, and this is the one I always go back to. I mean, have any of y'all listened to this one? And I'm gonna get y'all's opinion on it.
Well, what style are they? Are they a deathcore band?
No, they started off as being metalcore, like their early stuff.
Yeah, it's outside of maybe a few bands. I always look at that. I'm like, they look so much like a deathcore. Like the logo screams deathcore in some cases.
They have a little bit of deathcore influence in their later stuff, but they're kind of a cross between metalcore, melodic death metal, and a little bit of deathcore. Like depending on.
I look at that because I'm past the point of some deathcore bands outside of maybe some that I've actually liked and maybe get interested in, like maybe say some Whitechapel or something like that. But I'm just not really that.
They're more in the vein of like I would say, like more like Dark Tranquility, but more fast.
Melodic death metal.
Yeah.
I might give them a try at some point because I am a huge fan of some of the melodic death metal, especially with Michael Stenn's side project with the Halo effects. I love that. I mean, so I might check it out.
That album in particular is a really melodic death metal album. That album in particular, and that's why it's my favorite. Because that's my favorite genre of music. If y'all didn't know. All right, but anybody else looking for it?
But yeah, no, Heaven Shall Burn go back like almost to like I think year 2000. So they've been around a while. Like musically, they're not explosive. Like musically, they're on point. Everything is super tight. Like they're not explosive. So like they are like some of the best you can get for probably modern metalcore, basically. I
Yeah,
guess
because modern metal. Yeah, here's in a sense, modern metalcore around that era was basically influenced by the Gothenburg sound of the melodic death metal, the Soilworks, the In Flames, Dark Tranquility, all those bands, pretty much. So I wouldn't be surprised if a band like Heaven Shall Burn. Wait, what region are they? Are they a U.S. band?
No, they're from Germany.
Okay, so they are technically kind of part of the Gothenburg sound because some of those bands of As I Lay Dying and all that remains, freaking Killswitch Engage, they would all start having their sound be more like those bands, pretty much.
And when I'd say Heaven Shall Burn started in the late 90s.
Yeah, like I have the first two Heaven Shall Burn albums from way back when I was, neck deep in metalcore and all that stuff. But yeah, great stuff. And I was going to say, you guys were talking about when Ryan was asking about what genre it was. Is like back then they were like heavier than a typical metalcore band, so they could actually be seen as like proto deathcore, like before deathcore even existed. Like they were almost the heaviest thing in that style.
Yeah, the closest, pretty much in the style of what would eventually be later called deathcore, pretty much. So I always had the feeling of that band, I feel like that could be like a deathcore band, just the way it sounds. I didn't see their logos and think, just the logos alone, I thought, scream deathcore.
But the vocals, and that album in particular is really melodic death metal, and vocally, he has a very unique vocal style.
Oh, he's a savage on the vocals, like on the mic, but yeah, he's a savage, real deep.
And I didn't realize how good his cleans could be until I heard Valhalla, that cover of by Blind Guardian,
Yeah, that's right on.
Cool.
He's saying like Norma Jean, Red Chord, Norma Jean were along there with with Heaven Shall Burn, Unearthed.
Red Chord, obviously. Yeah, they were clear back in the day. I don't know. I know they're doing tours and stuff, but back in the day, they're definitely a deathcore band. One of those that helped shape the sound of deathcore, pretty much. Well, the good style of deathcore before it was just, gentrified and all that BS.
Cool. So we probably round our course with that, and next we'd be going with the Queen of England. He's calling himself.
Hello, my royalty peasants. Anyways, I went with 1990s Violator by Depeche Mode. I know it's kind of not a heavy metal record so much, but I don't know. Depeche, they deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you know what I mean? Like, they started out kind of like, pansy boy rock or whatever, pop or whatever, but with this album, it was like the acclamation of like, they released a record for every year of the 80s, right? So they came out in 1980 and then up until like 1989 or whatever, and then they put this out in like 90 or 89. It's freaking good, man. Like, production's so polished. What do we got for tracks on here? We got like, actually, was a Personal Jesus, Enjoy the Silence.
Personal Jesus is that's a big hit for them.
Yeah, right. Like World in My Eyes. I don't know. The whole thing's it sounds good as a complete album, right? So those are the best 10 out of 10 albums, right? Where it's just like takes you on a fucking musical journey, and it just hits on different notes and different cylinders, and like I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, it's just like that's one of the things for me when trying to think of a perfect album. Everything, the music side of things, it helps the sound and all that, the production, all the instruments and the vocals and the mixing have to be all perfect. Yeah. But sometimes the one key ingredient to making sure an album is perfect is that it's got to at least connect with you on like a deep and or personal level.
Well, it's got to, right? You gotta like. That's awesome, Jamie. You're freaking. Yeah, you get used to it. It's like an old friend almost, right? A 10 out of 10 album, right? You can put it on and you kind of like know what you're gonna be getting, and it's comforting and.
Exactly, and it brings out all the feels, the happiness, tears of joy and stuff like that. Like some of these albums I have in here are freaking, sometimes bring me tears of joy and stuff like that.
Yeah, you get goosebumps when you put it on, right? That's a 10 out of 10 album. You get hard. I get hard when I put on a fucking 10 out of 10 record, right? Get a little chubby going on. I'm just kidding. Okay. Don't take me too seriously. I'm the Queen of England.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Bow down before me.
So Depeche Mode, the only story about Depeche Mode is I know they're kind of like grandfathered in with like the kind of just that style of genre music. But anyway, I'm at a thrift store one day and one of their CDs there at the thrift store for like 50 cents, $1, and I just buy it. Just to be like, oh, I own a Depeche Mode, I'm cool. But I don't really, I don't. It's all right. I think I've played it a few times, but.
The only thing I've heard from them is you mentioned Personal Jesus. I've heard that like many times. I'm like, I like it, but it's not my cup of tea.
It's
pretty good,
like all the albums I've ever bought where I just bought it out of respect, where I didn't even like it. I just bought it out of respect. Because I know like
kind of like the Cure.
I know like Nine Inch Nails like really respects those guys and they have a lot of respect. So I just bought it out of respect, basically.
Well, it's synth, right? They're like one of the only bands or the first band to sell out Madison Square Garden and not have a guitar player.
Wow,
right?
That's cool.
It's like they're a powerful band at that time, right? So I don't know. One of their guys, Andy Fletcher, he died this year. One of the keyboard players there. I'm not thinking I heard about that. So we'll see where they go. I wouldn't call them washed up, but it's just like the dog days are done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Violator. Gotta have it. You gotta have it, and you gotta have it on. You gotta have it on tape too, right? Fucking tapes. You guys got tapes?
I got some tapes.
I got about 50 tapes.
You got some tapes?
I
got a few. The chunk of my music collection is CDs. So I just tell you.
Yeah, man. CDs don't degrade. You store them properly. Keep them in their cases. They're good. I keep mine in the garage. Actually, of all places. That's where I fucking rock my CDs. Yeah.
I got one old DRI album where like the film is peeling off. Like the actual film is peeling off.
Weird.
Yeah. It must have been in a really hot place or something. It just fucking peeled right up. I got it used just a couple of years ago, but it's the only time I've ever seen something like that.
What,
it
CD
still
or
works.
vinyl?
It's CD. It's still. I'll pull it up when someone's talking here, but I think it's actually completely off, but the CD still works. And it's an OG, so I was like, "Fuck! I want to keep it alive. Like I don't want to just throw it in the garbage or something. Like it's an OG from like 1988 or something." So I was like, "Man, I want to keep the CD alive. Still, it's still good."
Hey, if it still plays, whatever, right?
Yeah. Like I think you can just throw tape on the top and it'll still work. But so we'll be moving along with the Metal Detective next.
All right. Well, we were talking about, or the Queen, Your Majesty, was talking about a lot of punk, right? So I think these guys were the original punk band, or proto-punk at least. And I've been into them for about a year now, and I can't get enough of Velvet Underground. This is, of course, their debut album. Everybody knows this is the Banana album, but it's the original. The official title is The Velvet Underground and Nico, and it's Lou Reed, and he's freaking amazing. I know he's an acquired taste, but this album has, oh my god, such great songs. Sunday Morning, Waiting for the Man, Heroin. These guys, I was reading about them. They were like the anti-hippies. They were a response to the flower power of the late '60s, Their songs were
Andy
just
Warhol.
their songs were just about being in the street and really bad drug abuse and deviant sexuality. They were just the anti-hippies. They were not about flower power. They were just the response. There's like a whole been books written about these guys. And Lou Reed is, he died a few years ago. But, he was one of the singers and the guitarist and just an awesome storyteller. And I love this band. I can't get enough of the Velvet Underground.
I just picked up their live at Max's Kansas or whatever.
Yep.
I picked up that live record for like, I got in a collection. I bought a collection of like 300 records for like $500 or something. And yeah, some Velvet Underground was in there. And they're cool. I don't know. It's yet again, it was a time and a place, right?
Yep.
You get an original pressing of this thing with the peelable banana, and it's worth thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I don't think mine is.
The LP. My oldest one of this LP is from '85, and it's probably worth about $50.
Yeah, I think I got something like that too.
And their stuff is ultra collectible. Anytime I ever see it, especially OG pressings, I dig into my pockets and I try to get them.
Oh, Lou Reed was awesome, man. Even like Transformer, that's a 10 out of 10 record almost.
That's 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Walk on the Wild Side and Perfect Day.
Yeah, a lot of people have differing opinions of Velvet Underground and Lou Reed, but it was kind of an acquired taste for me. I had to really, listen to the albums and understand his lyrics, and then I read a few biographies about Lou Reed, and I really understood what message he was trying to get out there, and it all made sense to me. At one point, I'm like, okay, this all clicks, and I'm like, because at first, when I first listened to Velvet Underground and Lou Reed, I'm like, it's a little atonal, it's a little rough, it's kind of punky and noisy, and I really wasn't understanding what they were trying to do. But then you read about, what they were doing, and just amazing stuff. A little political, a lot of sociology, really cool stuff.
Art rock almost too, right?
Rock, yeah.
Yeah, I was first introduced to them through the Doors movie with Val Kilmer. And there's a scene where they're playing heroin, and I was like, who is this band? I've never heard of them before, right? And so, yeah, I kind of went down the rabbit hole after seeing that movie.
It's a very interesting rabbit hole. And actually, all the members, the original members, John Cale and Maureen Tucker, they all have solo albums, and their solo stuff is just so interesting in and of itself. All the people that were in the Velvet Underground, they had like the female drummer Mo Tucker, which female drummer in an art rock band in the '60s. I mean, come on, they were different, and they were cool, but they didn't try to be different on purpose. They just were different, and because of that, they were cool. They didn't try to be cool. They didn't have to pretend. They were.
Yeah, they weren't posers or anything, right? They were what they were, and that was the Velvet Underground. And like you said, each one brought a different dynamic to what it was. And even Nico, man, like I think she's foxy as fuck for one, but she's a unique character, unique voice.
Oh, she's got a ton of solo albums too, yeah. And her solo albums are very, very interesting. It's all like all this art rock and really, high conceptual stuff and high concepts, and just, like a very literary. It's a lot of the stuff is very literary. Especially Lou Reed. I think he got a bachelor or something, a degree in English from Syracuse. I was reading. So a lot of his stuff is very literary, and he used a lot of themes that he learned about in college. So very interesting stuff. And then just a master storyteller. Very much like kind of in the Phil Lynott vein. These guys who are really good songwriters are good storytellers. And they just don't just sing about the same stuff over and over again. They have a diverse array of things that they sing about. That's 10 out of 10. I think some of the albums are really 10 out of 10 too. But like I said, it's an acquired taste. It took me a long time to really appreciate what they were doing. But when I did, I was like, I went down that rabbit hole. And every record store I go to, I'm like looking for Velvet Underground stuff, and it's very highly collectible and very hard to find.
Yeah, man, for sure. See it at record shows here and there, and like I said, that collection that I just bought had that live album, Max's of Kansas City, and Looking right.
I have a repress of that, the seal that I haven't opened. I think it was like a record store day thing from a few years ago. So
Yeah, this is like a coalition press or something. It's like, I believe it's 80s, 70s or 80s press.
oh,
So.
cotillion, yeah,
Cotillion. Sorry,
Yep.
yeah. That's right.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a sweet label. I like the Cotillion label.
that is a good label. Very
Gothic
good
print
label.
and yeah, totally. Marquee Moon, nice. That is a good album.
Yeah.
The jazz rock of punk
Cool.
rock, eh?
Interesting.
Yeah, I think
What do you got, Ryan?
The art rock stuff.
But I'm not super familiar with the Velvet Underground, but I knew Andy Warhol did the cover, and the only Andy Warhol cover I have is this Rolling Stones Andy Warhol
nice.
cover here.
I didn't know he did that.
Andy Warhol did this, so the only kind of information I got about this is apparently kind of this black marker. I think this black marker, Mick Jagger actually went over and actually outlined some of this stuff in black. Like you can actually see like that black out, all this black like outline stuff. I think Mick Jagger went along over top of Andy Warhol's artwork and did that. And anyway, so apparently when word got back and when this album came out, Andy Warhol found out that Mick Jagger screwed with his artwork. Apparently, Andy Warhol was very offended and pissed off about that. Mick Jagger started doodling on all this shit. Like I don't think it came like Andy Warhol did not submit the artwork like that. I think Mick Jagger went and started doodling on it and shit. And then when Andy Warhol found out that he did it, he was just pissed off. So.
Damn.
I didn't know that. Yeah, Andy Warhol is a very unique fellow.
Yeah, if you watch that Andy Warhol Diaries on Netflix, that's a good watch. If you guys haven't seen it, it's like a documentary about like his diaries. So they're just basically narrating his diaries and throwing in some visuals and shit there. It's good if you don't know much about him.
All right, I guess.
Ran a course with that, and so Ryan, you're up next.
But my last one. And well, this one should be blatantly obvious.
But the soul, nice.
I love everything about this album. Like I really got nothing else to say about this album, from songs like on here, If Eternity Should Fail, the one song on here that, kind of at first listening to it and all the vocals and stuff like that made me bring the tears was the title track. And Bruce singing on that higher register near the end, it was just like, wow. Like literally bringing, as I was just singing along with it, I was like almost coming to tears of trying just like, wow. He was giving it his all on this album. And it just goes to show, just from that title track alone, everything about this album, even the weakest song, the weakest epic on this album, The Red and the Black, is really great. Every song on here is just picture perfect, And then obviously the 18-minute song Empire of the Clouds. Oh my God, there's just a lot of songs on here that I absolutely love and think to myself, yes, this album, even after 7 or so years of listening to this, I still think this album is perfect, and I absolutely love the Book of Souls to this day. When I first reviewed it and all that stuff, and still to this day, love it, and think it's absolutely perfect.
Maiden's a shit.
Yeah, Ryan. My favorite track on here is it Tears of the Clown? Isn't that all? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tears of the Clown. Yeah, third to last.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool they did it. That song was a tribute to Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
I thought that was a lot of respect to Bruce. The thing about Robin Williams. I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
I mean,
J-Dub, you're next.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say it's a great album, and actually it's funny because I pulled out what did I pull? I pulled out Dance of Death I think a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of
Ah,
skimming through kind of some other 2000s Iron Maiden. You know, like all the 2000s Iron Maiden albums are actually pretty decent actually. So, Book of Souls is great.
yeah.
Is that the vinyl version you have, or was that just like a?
Yep, it is the vinyl version. I do have the book version at least.
Oh, wow.
I kind of doodled on it a little bit, and it is coming apart a little bit, but I still have the book deluxe version of it. So yeah, but yeah, it's the vinyl version.
That's great. I don't have it. I actually should get it. But, yeah,
I need
it's great
to
album.
like this version.
I have it on CD.
Yeah, I
Nice.
love the book version, but I need to rebuy it because I let my brother borrow it and he ruined it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So, Warl Dane released a lot of incredible albums in his life, and there's probably a couple I could have picked. You know, Sanctuary had some great albums. Nevermore has some great albums, and every time I play this album, I don't need to skip a single track. I love the way it flows, and kind of just everything is perfect about this album. So we got Nevermore, The Obsidian Conspiracy, and yeah, actually we got another Andy Sneap produced album here. So yeah, Andy Sneap there. But other than that, yeah, this album's just great. Kind of obviously the guitar work and everything's just phenomenal. But kind of just the track listing, it's like the flow of the whole track listing is just perfect. There'd be a couple like heavy songs and mixed with like a mellow dramatic mid song, and then maybe a couple more heavy songs. Just like the pacing, the track listing that they chose. Like the track listing doesn't, when they build albums, track listings don't just appear like this. They have to think of the track listing and how everything fits and flows, and they nailed it on this. Everything flows great. I listened to this album like before the show a couple hours ago or whatever, and yeah, without a doubt, I love it. You know, I think there's one kind of maybe a half of a song, but then it kind of picks up and the Maiden Spoke. But other than that, I love every track on this album. It's incredible. Really fine piece of work from Nevermore. Incredible. And still holds up to this day, obviously, with the good production and all that kind of stuff. But what year was this? 2010.
Yeah, that was the last one for Nevermore.
Right, and right, that's too. I didn't even kind of.
Yeah, because after that, I think the band might have broke up, and Jeff went and did another solo album, Plains of Oblivion. I have that on CD.
This is a ripper album. This is an absolutely amazing album.
And it really,
It
that's
really
the
is.
one Nevermore I'm missing.
It's great. It's just a great listen all the way through. Like you wouldn't just want to play one or two songs. Like it's a complete album, and that's exactly what the 10 out of 10 means. Like it's a complete album. It kind of has nice ebbs and flows to it, and everything sounds great. And yeah. Yeah, I think they nailed it on this one. What's the guitarist's name? He's now an arch enemy.
Jeff Loomis.
Yeah, I was about to say Jeff Waters, not Jeff Waters. Yeah, Jeff Loomis. Yeah, Jeff Loomis. Yeah, Loomis on here.
Yeah, he would later do a solo album, and then we'll do a Concrete Dystopia after that. Then he would join Arch Enemy.
Jeff Loomis is just spectacular on these Arch Enemy albums. Like, oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, rest in peace, Warl Dane. I don't know what the picture here. They must have put black paint all in their face or something for the band photos. But yeah, incredible album. Yeah, and it's kind of weird. I guess I'm last there, so people are like, "Ooh, what's next?" But guess there is nothing next. Yeah, we went through all our three each, I suppose.
Yeah.
Nobody picked Jimi Hendrix?
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm quick to the point about that. I'm like, yep.
Catch up with the comments here on the side. We got James says Behemoth the Titanus is a 10 for him. He says the first self-titled clutch.
Yeah, there was a lot of others. Hopefully, I'm back on to maybe do another one where I pretty much call it the Dream Theater par for me. I basically just show a lot of Dream Theater pretty much because they're just whew.
The new Halloween's pretty close to a 10.
I've listened to that. I'm like, it's got some. Yeah, you said close. It's got some moments of greatness, and then it's got some moments of not so greatness. In my opinion, of course.
Exploited.
Ooh, Sham 69.
Exploited.
I'm good.
Exploited for me. I think an exploited is reachable for me.
The Damned.
I like Machine Gun Etiquette. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's like, yeah. If we're going into Damned albums, yeah, that's up there for sure. The Black Album, they're so fucking good. It's too bad because Captain Sensible didn't get vaccinated, so he can't come over to North America. So,
damn.
Won't be seeing them anytime soon. Stupid Vax Pass. So, yeah. The Queen is dead. Smiths, I was thinking that. I don't know. I got that in the collection. That's a 10 album too, for sure.
There's just so many I could think of that are 10. It's
we could go all day, right?
Yeah.
Hey, this is number 2. We could probably do 100 of these in the next couple of years.
Don't forget
Hundreds
Cold
of
Lake.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely will be back in this again.
Good times.
The same way you think Cold Lake is a 10 out of 10 is the same way I think this is a 10 out of 10. Where it's like
Chickenfoot, I'm checking that out.
Cold Lake for hours and figured out those riffs.
Yeah, like I understand you and Jam and John liking that album. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll be converted into a Cold Lake worshiper. Maybe I wouldn't know.
Sit down and figure out chicken foot riffs, chicken liver riffs. I'm not gonna sit there for hours.
Yeah. Here's the thing with that Chickenfoot album. It's simple.
It's a dominoes game.
Yeah. Joe doesn't get to do. Sometimes he does. I'm like, what was it? There was one song on there something to do with soap or something like that, where he did go up on that one, but it's like most of the songs seem pretty tamed in terms of the guitar, you know. There's just that one song where everybody just went off and stuff like that. You know, Chad went off in some cases. Joe did a little bit of craziness on the guitar and stuff like that.
That's the thing. It appears like it upon a first listen, but you guys know the more you listen to an album, the second, third, fourth, 5 times, you pick up on all little intricacies and all that kind of stuff. And he's definitely his little licks and little noodles and in between. You know, it's much like old Racer X and Vinnie Vincent Invasion. Like they're getting their It may not appear like it upon a first listen, but when you listen to it and eventually get used to it on the third, fourth, fifth listen, that's when you start hearing the little noodling in between and the little stuff that you don't hear. So that's Chickenfoot for me. It's like, you know, guys that probably when it first came out, they probably flipped through it the first time and like, oh, what's this? This is kind of like very mainstream, softy, but a lot of albums where you listen to it, you know, 2, 3, 4 times, you start picking up on little things you don't notice, right?
The only Sammy Hagar albums I can listen to are the first Montrose albums.
Yeah. For me, I'm a little bit later with Sammy, so I will listen to the Chickenfoot stuff. I'll even listen to the stuff he did with VH, pretty much. You know, I love the stuff that Sammy did with VH, you know, love them. I can't say the same about some other people who don't like it, but I'm one of those that is on board with the Van Hagar era, you know, that things outside of the debut Van Halen album. I like all the other Sammy albums he did with VH, pretty much.
You know what I should have brought out? This is a perfect 10 that I should have brought out. Integrity, humanity is the devil.
Huh.
I got the first integrity on the way. It should be here actually probably in tomorrow or something. But
You want to talk about some brutal hardcore? Absolutely brutal.
the first one's even a little bit even cooler. But, yeah,
And
the
then
first two or three integrities are all great.
What's that?
this is a 10 out of 10 to me. Bleed the Sky.
Mm.
Okay, well, before we all start, oh, sorry, I thought that sounded like you was done there. But anyway, before we all start meandering off into space here, let's all get out of here and enjoy the rest of our evening. So thanks for all the guests for showing up and doing the show and being a part of the conversation. Ryan's already gone. And thanks for anyone that watches, again, not just live, but in the future, because, people that watch us in the future. So thanks for anyone that watches in the future. So thanks to everyone, and let's say our goodbyes and get the hell out of here. Snapface is cool too. So, and thanks, James, for watching and chatting along the whole time. That is rad.
Yeah, thanks, James. Good dialogue there, buddy.
That's kind of why I'm doing this, just to kind of, hell, even just one or two comments is cool. Earth Crisis, yeah, Earth Crisis is cool. I should have the first Crisis. Earth Crisis is coming too. First wave, pretty good. Okay, cool. Metal Detective signing off. Cthulhu signing off. England is the Queen of England has definitely signed off.
The Queen is dead.
the Queen has definitely signed off. And I'm going to sign off, and we're all signed off. Subscribe, Mosh. See you later. Ooh.